Okay, hello everyone, welcome back to another Manga Talks. Today we've got a big haul, so a lot of different things to go through. We've got some Oshimi Shuzou, Junichiro Saito, got some Yuri anthologies, some more Hino, and the most excited for is this. This is the definitive edition of the Drifting Classroom Volume 1 by Umezz. And so we're going to start off with this because I only just opened this and I've never felt this much like joy seeing a book being reprinted like this, because opening this book for the first time, this wave of like wonder hit me because of how huge this is. So for some background on this book here, right? So this one came out very recently, maybe a month or two ago. So The Drifting Classroom is a very well-known book of Umezz, one of Umezz's most well-known books. Is published in English. I read it a couple years ago. Well, actually more than a couple years ago, maybe like 5 or 6 years ago now. So I actually don't remember much of the story at all, but I never had the physical version of them. I toyed around and thought of like getting the perfection edition of this, which is I think 3 volumes. They're very large volumes. I think they're red, blue, and green. But luckily I didn't, because they announced this earlier this year, and I was like, okay, I need to get this specifically because they said that this book was going to be in the same format as the same size, as the magazine it was released in. So for some comparison, this is your very standard tankobon size. Huge, absolutely huge. This is like a bigger tankobon size compared to that. It's just insane. It feels like a Garo issue type of size, but it's gonna be amazing. I think I'm gonna collect the full thing because there's gonna be 6 volumes. It's gonna be coming out. I don't know if they've specified how frequent, but taking a look at the spine, it's gonna create like a full picture with the 6 volumes lined up, which I'm very excited for. And yeah, so I guess translated, I called it the definitive edition, but this they put here as the Umezz Authentic Collection. I think I made a mistake beforehand. I'm actually recording this on the same day that I recorded the Umezz comparison video. I said in that comparison video that the box set was for the 90th anniversary of Umezz's since his birth. I was wrong. It was actually for this one specifically. The box set was like a separate thing that also happened to release in this same year, but this specific project is dedicated to his 90 years since his birth. So he passed away 2 years ago at the age of 88. So if he was still here today, he would be 90. But rest in peace to one of the best mangaka that has ever lived, in my opinion. But yeah, in terms of the story, I can't tell you too much about the story because I've honestly forgot about it. But I know the premise, from what I remember, was like a whole school being transported into a different like world. But honestly, just going through this book, I've never had, like, I don't have any other books that are of this format. Number one, the books, like for example, the manga that I have in this size, now I think about it, I don't actually have any manga in this size, I don't think. Maybe Plaza by Yuichi Yokoyama, but otherwise I can't think of anything else. Obviously I have a lot of magazines that are this size because this is magazine sized, art books this size as well, but having a manga specifically this big in the original magazine format is a whole different experience, and I love the clarity in all of this. It's insane. Like it combines the feeling of reading a manga magazine with the quality of like a collected tankobon, because as you may know, manga magazines are the quality in which they are released aren't that good most of the time, you know. If you look at it now, especially, they're kind of more like, you look at Jump, they're more disposable. But take that experience of reading the manga in that size combined with like an actual good quality of printing, it's such a unique experience. I can't, like, Come on, like you ah I'm kind of like speechless. And I know in some English editions of works they have it much bigger size. I don't know if there's any manga from the top of my head that is printed in this size. I think it was specifically B5. I think the size of this is a B5. But it's like, damn, man, like the huge panels like this, the double page spreads, all of them are way more elevated in this format. And the project was carrying on like one of like Umezz's wishes to have his works reprinted in a format that could replicate the experience of reading the original magazine. But I think this, just from flipping through it, does that so well, because you can look at all of the detail and stare as much as you want with like this big size. It's absolutely insane. I don't know, I think there might, I'm not sure if there's actually differences, like maybe they included, oh yes, there we go. I was gonna say there was supposed to be an inclusion of a page that wasn't in the perfection editions or anything. I think it's this one here. So it's a color page, and you know, having color pages this size for a manga is absolutely insane. But yeah, a few minor differences, like additions in the reprint here, but I think this is the time for me to reread. It's been like 5 or more years, which means that I've forgotten a lot of the details. And, you know, I'm on an Umezz spree right now, going through the box set. This is like, oh God, I'm genuinely so happy about this. Yes, okay, there's even more. So cool seeing color pages like this. So yeah, I don't have a confirmation of whether the publisher for this has announced the frequency of release, but either way it'll be fine, because these volumes, right, huge volumes, so they're around 400 pages each. If you have 6 of them, 2,400 pages is insane. So I'll take my time with this, honestly. Same thing with Kamui Den. I still haven't started Kamui Den because I kind of know it'll be a while for everything to come out. I think 10 volumes in total. There's only 2 volumes right now. It's maybe been a year or 2 since they've been coming out, so no rush yet, but this I think will be a little bit more frequent than that. I think that's the front cover, so that's handle there. Also did want to mention, maybe if you didn't see, it's also textured, a little bit elevated, so you can feel the kanji here. Love the, like, in my opinion, really love this gray, white, red, black color combination. I think it works really well for a definitive edition. I actually don't know how many volumes the original Drifting Classroom was in its like tankobon. I know the Perfection is 3 volumes, but those are huge ones. These ones will be 6. Don't know how long the originals are. But I actually love the design of this. If they keep this up for the whole run, they will look amazing together. Like, it's a set, you know. If every cover replicates this style of like having the same positioning of the kanji and the title, and then having like the focus on this in the background, because they're kind of like it feels like a frontispiece sort of work. And like, you're not getting too much. Oh, another good thing, actually, you're not losing anything in the gutter. Because these books are so huge, they can be opened up way more, so that, you know, we all know the pain of having to lose that middle gutter part of the artwork. But with a book like this big, you're not losing, I feel like, anything at all, really. Let's like find another. We've gone through a couple of double page spreads already, but like, I know this is not a double, but just look at that amount of detail. But I do remember when I did read Drifting Classroom, it was very early into my manga reading and horror manga reading journey. It was just so well known that I read it. I think from what I remember, I did like it. But now, since I've developed my taste, I think going back, I'll love it even more. Like, Umezz has solidified himself for me in my head as like one of the greatest. Okay, here's another example. double page spread, no gutter loss. Just insane. Like, we need more of this stuff like this. And I think I actually can't really say or compare because I don't have these types of books, but I know, like, for example, Viz, they do big hardcover books. Because I don't have it, I don't know whether the hardcovers they probably can't be opened that much, so you still probably have gutter. But this one, it's not hardcover. You know, it's just like a paperback feel to it. So it can be opened like this. And you can see everything. And the actual printing of this, it's very clear. Like, you look at the detail of the work, it's like it's very high, like high definition. So good. But yeah, of course, Umezz being brutal as always. I'm just so happy. Like, I'm glad. Honestly though, even if I had the Perfection Edition, I still would probably buy this because I think it looks like a whole different experience. The size is like, it plays such a big part. So it's like, this is an example of how well you can do reprints for. Like, imagine this for other Umezz works. Imagine this for God's Left Hand, Devil's Right Hand. Like, that is one of my favorite Umezz works. It's really hard to pick a favorite, but in terms of the spectacle of things, in terms of the gore, body horror, God's Left Hand, Devil's Right Hand is absolutely insane. I can't imagine how it would be in this format. You know, just think about it. It's absolutely insane. The only tiny gripe I have with that, very tiny, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. When you put it down flat like this, you can kind of see a little bit of the cover, which means that it's not really segregated, but that's fine. It's a small thing anyways. But yeah, this is a highlight in my recent hauls, and I highly urge you, even if you don't, like, well, depending on you, even if you don't read Japanese, if you love Umezz, if you love the Drifting Classroom on top of that, just having this, even having one of this, you will see how different it feels. Again, at the end of the day, this is my opinion, but I just feel that, like, this reprint elevates and puts the story and its reading experience to an absolutely different level. But yeah, so that's the first book I want to show off. Very excited. We'll be collecting the full thing. We'll see how long it takes, but that is the definitive or the authentic collection of The Drifting Classroom by Umezz, Volume 1. Okay, let's move on. So the rest I bought as well in the same haul. So there's a couple of different things just assorted. So the first thing I want to go through for this one is this here. So this is Junichiro Saito's BEM, B-E-M. I actually don't know how to pronounce it. What I found really interesting about this, so if you don't know about Junichiro Saito, they were featured in Glaiolia. Don't actually remember which Glaiolia, but in a Glaiolia, or maybe one or two of them. I have one of their works. I have Shit Chofu, that I've read beforehand. Kind of confusing, but like, this one is a newer, or maybe the newest book from Junichiro Saito, published in, it's been a couple, 2026. So it's been serializing in Torch for maybe the past couple years or so. But now the final full edition, the tankobon, was released this year. So one thing I find very interesting is when I got this and I picked it up and I'm like, why does this feel different? It's because there's no cover, a dust jacket. Normally, 95% of the time for Japanese manga and tankobon, you will have them with like a dust cover. This one, for example, doesn't. But if you're, oh, actually no, it does. Yeah, even this one does. So if you think of just your standard Japanese tankobon, they usually have dust covers. This one doesn't. And what I find interesting as well is that, I mean, I think I saw somewhere in terms of interviews, Junichiro Saito is very influenced by like a lot of like Western like media as well. So the orientation is also different too. So normal Japanese tankobon, right to left. This one is left to right. So I find that really interesting. Did not know any of this beforehand, but I just figured, okay, new work by Junichiro Saito. Haven't read anything from him since Glaiolia and Shit Chofu, so had to pick this up. So it does feel like a very like just like a Western paperback, which I guess that's the point of it. But yeah, it's unique in that sense. So in terms of the story, I haven't looked up too much about it, but I think from the, let me find out, I noted it down somewhere, the synopsis of it. Okay, yep. So a series of bizarre murders occur across the United States. FBI agent Hadrian becomes convinced of the existence of aliens, a forbidden, hard-boiled sci-fi apocalypse. So I love the amount of color pages they have at the start, but it's very different. It is set in the US, but it's also going for a very different, a very different feel to what you're used to in your manga. So this will be a very interesting read. I think it's like 260 pages in total, something like that. But it's a unique book in my collection because the formatting is just different. It's not something that I'm used to, but it's really cool. So that's BEM, or BEM. And then another one that I picked up, this is a recent release. I think it's also been announced in English, but everyone knows Oshimi Shuzou, one of my favorites as well. This is called Sins, I think. Yeah, Sins. And it's a collection of short stories. So I haven't, the latest work that I read from Oshimi Shuzou was the scissor one, the girl with the scissors, but that was an interesting one because that was like a prequel to a movie. Interesting. Either way, Oshimi Shuzou, one of my favorite mangaka as well. Blood on the Tracks is insane, one of the scariest stories I've read, honestly. But everything else, I've got like Happiness, I've got Inside Mari, I've got a ton of their works. It's all-time favorite for me. But yeah, so when I saw that they were looking to release a short story collection, definitely wanted to pick that up. And one good thing is, if you're reading Oshimi Shuzou in Japanese, it's very easy a lot of the time. The dialogue, the words, they're not too hard. So I guess if you want something a bit easier to learn Japanese with and you don't want to read like Doraemon or something like that, honestly, I would recommend Oshimi Shuzou. To be honest, the cover is kind of like, it's okay for me, but either way, it's not what I'm focused on. I just want to read the stories. I don't know anything about the stories inside or when they were created, honestly. Does it maybe say here? So this was released in 2025. Oh, end of 2025. Okay. Yeah, no, I don't know when these were released. But this was announced in English, so maybe next year for when it's released in English, something like that. And then these two, I'll talk about together because these are both Yuri anthologies or Girls Love anthologies. So this is Bad End Yuri Anthology. This is the first volume of it. There's 2 volumes, but they're both anthologies. So essentially all girls love stories with a theme. So Bad End, apparently the overarching theme of this is bittersweet stories. So it looks like, a lot of variety in them. I'm not very familiar with the artist, I don't think, because I buy these anthologies to discover artists. So yeah, I don't know exactly many people from here, I don't think, but I haven't really checked in fully. But love the cover. So we'll see how this goes. If it's great, I'll pick up volume 2. It's interesting that this anthology has 2 volumes though. Normally anthologies in my head are like standalone things, so I guess maybe like they just had that many artists and planned for 2 volumes, but the cover is very captivating. I love purple. And then this one is one, I think it translates to something like a Yuri anthology where you're being seduced by a bewitching melodramatic woman, something like that. Very long name, but cover is amazing as well. A bit of a bigger format actually compared to your usual book. And same thing, I think it's different publishers. Yeah, this one's Ichijinsha, this one is, what was it, Karakawa, so different. But they released, this one released very recently. That one was out for a while, so I just thought, okay, might as well pick them up together because I haven't read anthologies for a little bit. So that's the theme for this one. So looking forward to that. Hopefully I don't have to censor anything. But, yep, there you go. That's that book. And then the last one for today will be the Hino book. So, recently I did finish the Animal Works book compilation anthology that Hino had. Talked about that in a video. This one was the other one that I wanted to pick up. So this is Hino Hideshi's collection of bizarre comics from the abyss. Completely different publisher as well as the other ones. And so this feels weird because to me, when you look at it, it doesn't feel like it has a dust cover, but it actually does. And so yeah, this one's interesting. I looked at the synopsis, and of course I love Hino. I've always wanted to get Hino, like the original Hibari comics and stuff, but like I couldn't really justify it because all these cool compilations and collections are coming out, so it's a lot cheaper to actually get these. But maybe one day I'll actually buy like the original Lullaby from Hell and Panorama Hell, that sort of thing. And they're also being reprinted in English too. So yeah, at the moment don't have any original Hibari releases for Hino, but it's made up by all of these cool compilations. So the synopsis for this is it features 13 works that have not been collected in book form and are currently difficult to obtain. So that was the main drawing point, because if they're not collected in book form, then there's no other way I'm going to read it. And it's interesting because if you look at it, all the manga is like, it's not the full page. So I guess you can tell it was like scanned from maybe a magazine or something like that. But the interesting thing is, it doesn't only include horror manga, it also includes gag manga and apparently 4-panel comics as well, which I haven't seen yet. Haven't done any big of a flip through, but this looks like a gag manga. So there's a bit of variety, because the other ones are more, they're actually all horror stories. This one collects more than that. So that was another big drawing point for this. And then of course we got some horror stuff. But yeah, I love this for showing a different side of Hino. And of course there's a lot of commentary across the whole page, because I think it's for, I think the name was Terai Hiroki, like the editor who curated and collected these. So, here we go. Look. 4-panel works. So it's a very interesting book with a lot of variety. So if you want to see a different side of Hino that apparently you can't find elsewhere, it's not collected in book format, then this one will be for you. It's not a very expensive book either. I think all of these, I highly recommend all of these collections because they are on the cheaper end, and they expose you to a lot of Hino. You won't have the original, but you'll have a lot of care put into a book where it does collect the original and is aiming to showcase as much as they can from Hino. The cover for me is okay. I think the color is like not my thing, but that's not too much of my focus when I was looking at this book anyways. So yeah, I think that will be the end of today's video. A great haul, very happy with it. Very unique too, but yeah. It really is the Umezz time, I feel. So if you've ever, for some reason, been kind of hesitant or haven't been looking into Umezz much, I think now is the time for it. So keep a lookout, because a lot of exciting things. On top of that, like there was even like an Umezz horror house. I think, like one of those amusement park things. I think that was also announced as well. Don't know if that's already done or anything like that, but a lot of focus is being put into Umezz, which is amazing. His death was very sad. We've had a couple of very sad deaths in passing from mangaka artists, that sort of thing, and it's just great now to see that we're continuing to, like, there's people out there who want to continue to release quality stuff for these artists in remembrance of them, and it's just it's such a wholesome thing. But yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.